Everyone, Abdul here, and in this video, I'll quickly talk to you guys about the new web search API that OpenAI just released. So, if you're anywhere in the internet, you'll know that the past couple of days, OpenAI released their web search API, and it's kind of a big deal actually for AI enthusiasts and automators like us. So, what I want to do is I want to show you guys how you can integrate these into end-to-end. Um, some kind of use case that you can use for web search API. Why it's even a big deal? Why it's having such hype that it has, and why AI enthusiasts are just happy about this endpoint API that OpenAI just released. So, first of all, we have to understand. We'll obviously go to the practicals after this, but I just want to give you guys a little bit of theory. So, basically, what the web search API is that it enables integrating real-time internet search capabilities into applications. So basically, this API model it allows retrieval of the latest information from the web before generating responses, and it also enhances the accuracy and relevance of the output. Now, you might be thinking, well, what's the big deal about this? Initially, API and even ChatGPT, if you remember when it came out the first time in 2022, it does not possess web search abilities. So it does not have up to date knowledge, right? You had to implement custom functions to enable the internet access. However, with the introduction of the Web Search API, these capabilities are now readily available, and you can just now that OpenAI has released the API endpoint for these, you can integrate them into end-to-end. So I'm just gonna show you guys an example of workflows that without the Web Search API, it would have been a little bit more difficult for us to build. But now that we have this API endpoint, we can actually reduce the amount of nodes we need to use and increase the overall efficiency of the whole workflow, right? So the first example is a real-time industry news monitoring. So without the web search API, ideally if you want to create this type of workflow, you have to scrape multiple news website using an RSS feed node, and then you extract the article summaries using an OpenAI or summarization tool, and then you filter for relevant topics using text analysis. All these steps, right? But with this search API, we can directly fetch real-time industry news in a single step by querying specific topics. So you can literally just type whatever you want and it will come back with relevant, and it will not hallucinate. It's just like you going to the web and just typing it, but this time the LLM is doing that for you, and it will bring back the data that you need in real time with real information, latest information, right? Um, Yeah, so that's it. And then we have competitor analysis for cold outreach. So maybe you want to create a workflow that you script the company website, and then you enrich that, and then you like extract key insight from that. If you had the web search API, it will go into the web in real time, and it will set for a company's latest update. If they had a funding round, it's going to bring that back to you. Or press releases in a single query. You can do all that in a single query, which is kind of crazy to me. It's just like it almost wiped out the research that Clearbit or Apollo will do for you. They usually get that from the web. Now you have an API that will just go into the web, and it will automatically just pull all those data for you, and you can send it to an LLM, and you will tell the LLM to literally analyze it for you and bring back the data that you need from that analysis. It's just mind boggling. It's crazy, honestly. Use case for this is like automating lead research inside Anytime to personalize email pitches based on recent company development. So yeah, you can just imagine like the possibilities with this API endpoint close to endless, basically. So without further ado, I'll put this document with the video, and I'll just run you guys through how to connect the API endpoint into end-to-end. So the first thing that we're going to do is we will go to platform.openai.com, So if I do this, and then you'll just come down here and we'll look. So you'll see this built-in tool. So actually, what OpenAI did is they released a suite of API endpoints, and the web search is among them. So what this API endpoint focuses on is to help us build more autonomous and robust agents using their agent SDK. These are all tools that you can use in the agent SDK. And among them is the web search. I will probably film a video going through file search, computer use, using built-in tools and all that. But yeah, we are focusing on the web search for today. So I'll just click the web search. And if you come down here, you'll see that we have this little code. Okay, we probably have to refresh this. So when you come here, you're going to see this code right here, and this is how we're going to connect the API endpoints to the HTTP node back in NHN. So I'm just gonna do that. So how the workflow is gonna be is that we will basically have a trigger. Probably we should form submission or chat message. We should use chat message. So for example, let's say you want to search uh, the latest Series B that anything just raised. Someone posted in the group that anything just raised 55 million euros, which is kind of crazy to hear. But anyways, if you want to know about that, you can just like type it in your application or anything, and the web search endpoint will do that for you. So we can just test our step here, and we can say what. Okay, we should probably move this here. Just follow the route that had. And okay, now we have this data right here. So what is the latest funding round that NHN had? Now we're gonna connect the HTTP node so that we can integrate the OpenAI, the web search endpoint. So what we're gonna do is we'll go to HTTP request node, and then okay, now we'll go back to this code right here, and if you see this code, it's a crawl code. So basically, I'll just walk you down through what this means. But if you see down here, if you see right here, we have X, and then we have post, and then we have a link. Okay, so basically what this post means is the request method that we're going to use in the API, in the HTTP node. So the request method, just quickly, is how you want to access the data. Are you sending data or are you getting data? So because we're sending data to this endpoint, we're using the post request method, because we're going to be sending our query to this endpoint to do this search that, hey, I wanted to search this for me. So we're sending data. For that reason, it's post. But if we're like getting data, for example, we're using a platform like Instantly, or I don't know, you want to get your stat on your cold email, then you're going to use get. Anyway, I digress. That's beside the point. So we're going to be using post here. So we'll come back to our HTTP node, and you'll see the method is the first thing here. So we'll just change that to post, right? And then for the URL, we'll see this URL right here: https colon // api.openai.com /v1 /chat /completions. We're just going to copy this whole thing. We'll copy it and we will paste it in the URL. The next will come here, we will see that we have a H. So what H means basically is the header. What are we passing in the header of the API request that we're making, right? And different API services have different way to authorize the request that you're making. In this case, OpenAI is authorizing their API request in the header, right? So what we're gonna do is we will just copy this, and if you notice, this is a key, and then this is the value of the key, all right? So just copy the key, authorization, Control C, and we'll come back here, and you'll see that we have a header. So what we're gonna do is the name of the header, which is the key, is authorization, and the value of that key is Biera. Okay, just copy that. Well, let's see, and then we paste it. So you see Biera here, and then $ OpenAI underscore API underscore key. What we're gonna do is we're going to replace our actual OpenAI API key with this right here. So in case you don't know how to get your API key, you'll just platform.openai.com. Uh, Signature last time. Just search for API keys. You come here, you search for API keys, and then you just create new secret key. You give it a name, and you create your secret key. You select your project, okay? But you're gonna select your project, and then you create your secret key, right? So that's how to create it basically. Well, I already have my OpenAI API key. So what I'm gonna do is I'll just paste it in here. Okay, now that I have, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. All right, well, it's not showing everything, so yeah. Okay, then the next step is going to be us coming back here, and then we would add our content type. So the content type is going to be, it's also a header, so we're going to pass it in the header parameters. So we're going to give, since we'll add another parameter, and we're going to paste this in here because it's the key. And then we'll come back here and we'll just paste the value of that key. So basically the value is anything after the colon, right? So just paste this in here, and then so that's it. We have the X, which is the the request method, and the link. We have the H, which is the headers, and now the D basically stands for the body. And when we are sending a request to an API endpoint, basically we need a body because that's where we're sending the data that we want to send. In our case, it's in a JSON format here, so we'll just copy everything from here down to here, and we'll just come back to N10, and you'll see this send body. We'll just toggle it on, and the body type will be JSON, and the specify body will be using JSON because we're sending it as a JSON, and it will be an expression. We'll just open this and we'll paste this in here. So as you can see, we have the model, which is GPT-4 or search preview. We have the web search options if you have options for it, and the message is actually a list, and in the list we have a role, which is the user, and then we have the content, which is going to be the query that we are sending to the OpenAI endpoint to bring whatever data we want back, right? So we're just going to, since every time we enter a query, it's going to be different, so we have to enter a variable here. So I'll just delete this, and I'll enter this. This is going to be the chat input. So anytime someone comes in here, okay, it's in undefined, but we're gonna test that and see. waiting. Okay, what is the latest from and okay, now let's see the result that it brought back for us. And here is it. As of March 2025, N10, a Berlin-based workflow automation, secured 55 million euros, approximately $60 million, dollars, in a Series B funding round led by Highland Europe with participants from HV, Capital, Sequoia, Felicis, and Hub. And this investment values the company at around 215 million euros, approximately $270 million. Dollars. Now, this literally happened like less than a week ago, and it brought back the real data. Now, imagine what you can do with this, right? You can do, I don't know, like just you can be creative with this. If you can implement this web search API here, you can get websites based on ranking. You can have details from of companies, tell the web search to bring back the latest news about these companies, and it would go out there and search the web in real time and do all that, which is really cool to see, honestly. So yeah, that's it. And you can also imagine you can add this as a tool in an agent, right? You add this api as a tool and the agent has access to this tool. It's just it's really cool, man. And yeah, a lot of exciting things happen actually in the AI world. So that's it for this video, guys. If you guys have any question, you guys want any help, you guys have an idea that you're thinking that it will be compatible, but you don't know, you're not sure, feel free to reach out. Right, my DM is always open. You can or drop it in the group so that everyone can benefit from the question, and I'll answer it there 100%. I'll reply to you guys. That's it for this one, guys. See you in the next video. Bye.